think my life changed for the better when I realized that just because something hurts in life doesn't mean that that has to be a bad thing. Let me explain. Um, Growing up, I always had like a really, really weak stomach. I wasn't really no help to anybody if I was to get sick or something like that. I was so bad that I would have to close my own eyes if I was regurgitating or something like that. Because even if I see myself getting sick, um, it would make me even sicker. I mean, my mom and everyone, they wouldn't even make me like help clean up after myself because I would just make a bigger mess in the process. And I never really tried to change that or whatever. I just let everyone know I had a weak stomach. I couldn't look at certain things. I couldn't witness certain things, or it just wouldn't be a pretty sight if I was around, basically. Um, well, later on in life, after college and football and all that stuff came to an end, and basically I ran into a rougher patch in life where I was just trying to find a job of any sort, and I got stuck in a job where I was a house manager for special needs adults, basically um, teenagers and young adults who had mental disabilities, and their families had put them inside of a home where we basically watched them 24/7. For the most part, usually I only had to do paperwork, tell people what to do, make sure everything was done properly. But unfortunately, we didn't have a really big staff. So if someone was to call in or not show up or something, I would be stuck in the position where I would have to be a little bit more hands on, which, me being a person with a weaker stomach, once again, wasn't a good idea. Um, but the difference was I didn't really have a choice whether or not I was working this job. I didn't really enjoy the job, um, but it was the only thing I could get at that point in time. And I never worked in even a fast food restaurant like McDonald's or anything growing up. The closest I've ever come to it is like a Red Lobster or something. But I never worked any place that I would consider gross or anything before then. I mean, there we're basically put in situations where you're dealing with adults with so without giving too much detail, I'll say that you dealt dealt with body functions of all kinds, liquids of all kinds, and it was never a good thing. But once again, usually that was their problem. I'd be in the other room doing paperwork. Well, we got a couple people who quit and a couple people didn't show up. And long story short, I got stuck doing the majority of a lot of the work by myself because no one else was around to help. And I was forced to confront my issue of being grossed out by everything because there was no one else to help. I mean, these were people who had special needs, and because everyone else called in, whenever these accidents and everything happened, I had to do it. And I thought it was like the biggest punishment in the world. I just couldn't understand. I mean, like, crap, has my life got so bad that I'm forced to be cleaning up after other grown folks and stuff. And I just thought that it was the most demoralizing point in my life. Well, fast forward, after a divorce and getting back on my feet and getting remarried, the one thing about my current wife, the difference between what I was used to is she has a few more medical needs. She's type 2 diabetic. We've had two diabetic comas over the past 4 to 5 years. We've really got to know each other on a whole nother level. But one day I realized that when she fell at her worst moments, when I came home and found her stretched out on the floor and had to rush her to the hospital, when I had to nurse her back to health, when she needed my help. If I hadn't worked that horrible job that I thought was punishment, I would have been no help to my wife. I wouldn't have been able to be with her to help and to clean up during those embarrassing moments. I wouldn't have been able to um, be that person in the room when she was too embarrassed to be around other people. Um, every man wants to be whatever's needed in the household, and the one thing that I would not have been prepared for is to be that servant, that submissive person, to have someone's back when they need you. I would have been too weak. To think that at one moment I actually cursed the situation of me being in that job that I thought was punishment, and I didn't know that God was actually preparing me to be able to be there for my future wife in a way that I wouldn't have been able to if I didn't get stuck in such a job that forced me to confront some issues. So um, after that, I looked at things differently. I no longer wonder why things happen to me in life anymore. Good or bad, I'm all right. I figure there's a lesson in whatever's going on. Once the fear of bad things happening all the time goes away, life gets easier. I mean, stress goes away. I worry about what I have control over. Other stuff, I just let it fall in line. Just thought I would share. God bless.